So we have our beautiful lining panel with our pocket and our pleated pockets, and it's looking great. Now we're going to add the facing that goes along the top, and I've got poppies. So because this is directional, I do need to make sure that when I open my bag I don't have upside down poppies. So I'm just going to kind of lay it right sides together, and I'm going to lift it up to make sure that the poppies are facing the right way, which they are. And I've laid that along the top edge of my lining panel. I'm going to do exactly the same with both of my lining panels. And it's, if you're using a directional fabric, it's always worth just laying it down and then lifting it up to make sure that when it's sitting properly, your whatever the motif is that needs to be directional is facing the right way. And nothing looks quite as funny as things that are upside down. And I know I've seen it so many times where people say, oh, it's not upside down when you're looking in the bag. It's not, but it's still not right, is it? We know this. So I am going to stitch this in place using a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance along the top edge of my bag. And I'm using the exterior fabric for the facing, and there's a good reason for that. Because this bag has a flap, and the flap doesn't sit fully to the side of the bag, you do get a little tiny glimpse of inside, and I prefer to see a little tiny glimpse of the exterior fabric on the inside than I do the lining, which often is quite completely different colour. I think it just blends in better, so it doesn't distract the eye. So that's stitched in place. I'm just going to fold that up towards, or open up that fold, and I'm going to finger press, but I'm actually going to get my iron on it as well, because I want the seam allowances to be folded down towards the lining. So just to make sure that it sits nice and tightly, just pushing that seam. It's because this is quite a thick, so it's a cotton drill type fabric, but it's all I had in the green, and that's what I was asked for. So I'm kind of hoping that it'll be all right. I don't actually like dark coloured linings very much, but you know what they say, the customer is always right. I've got a bit of thread there that was left over from when I unpicked in my zipper, so I'm just going to trim that off because that will annoy me. So there we go, that's looking nice now. And to make sure that that stays in place, I'm just going to top stitch on the main lining panel 1/8 of an inch below this facing panel. There we have it. So that's sitting beautifully. I'm going to repeat the same thing with my second lining panel. Obviously this one doesn't have any pockets and such on, but I'm going to do exactly the same thing, and I'll come back and show you where we go next.